quite lucky to have got it.
Oh, I should think so.
I didn't believe you'd ever move.
I know
You've been talking about it so long.
Well, the thing is, Elizabeth, she changes school in September.
Yeah.
And
It's a good time to do it.
Yes. If we don't move now, we really must provide her with a sort of continuity of education.
Yes, yes. So you're going to live in the village?
Right in the village.
Oh, I think that's lovely. You'll love it.
Well, I have tremendous reservations about it. I think it's marvellous for Jim and for the children.
Yeah.
Is it near your
an apple's throw away.
I was going to say your fish shop, but it's not.
Fruit, veg and fruit.
Yeah.
Veg and fish, of course.
So, I mean, Jim can't wait. He can't wait to get his chief assistant within, you know, a
Within-
phone call.
Yes, yeah.
It'll be much better for him, won't it?
It
Right
has
on the
a lot of
doorstep?
advantages, and I think he gets up so early, and he comes home, well, at 6 o'clock in the evening.
When he locks the shop door, he'll be at home, won't he?
And we've got lots of odd jobs we need doing
Yes.
this summer to the shop, and if he can walk home, have a meal, and walk back,
Yes.
you know, the driving
Yes.
has been taken out of the day.
Do you like the house?
Very much.
Yeah.
It's we were very lucky that something we could afford was available.
Yes, indeed.
Yes,
Because we're
because
selling bottom market in Romsey.
Yes.
And when you go to middle market in a little slightly more expensive area, that was a worry. But we're
Is it
very
bigger
fortunate.
than the house you've got?
Yes,
It's going to be more convenient for
Well,
you.
you know we built the extension on the front of the
Yes.
house. Well, I'm really going to miss that.
you can take it with you.
It would be nice, wouldn't it? But I've got a kitchen which is like one I've never had before. 15'6" by, I say to Jim, 3 inches. It's a real galley.
Yes.
And my mother-in-law says, it'll be lovely, Lily.
Yeah.
Stand in the middle and reach everything. But I'm unsure about things.
Oh, you'll be all
Well,
right.
you mean you can't you eat in the kitchen?
No, I have a small dining room just off
Yes.
the kitchen and a 27-foot lounge.
That's
quite
very
nice.
big.
Open
That's like
fire.
a landing strip,
Open
isn't it?
fire. Oh, how lovely.
So I'm looking for, there's lots of things I'm looking forward to about it.
And the children will be not to fetch and carry from school, will they, either?
No,
I mean,
and
the
we're
younger
on-
ones.
We're on the right side of the road. I know that may sound silly, but it's busy.
No,
In
it's
the
very-
summer,
it's
it's
very
very
important.
busy and lots of through traffic, as you know. And the business and the house are on the same side of the road.
Yeah.
And I think
Yes.
that's very important.
And the children don't have to cross the road, you mean, to go
Well,
to
they
school?
do, but there's always a lollipop lady. Oh, Daphne.
You've got my-
I've been looking at this, you know. It really is a lovely, heavy one.
It's a super
Well,
one.
that's old. No, it's the one you made
You're
yesterday.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. It's a beauty.
Well, I made it because I found those ply ones were very flimsy and I couldn't get the pressure.
I know they're the ones
You
we've
need a
got.
couple of bricks on top as well,
Yeah.
don't you?
And also the size, I carry this about with me, you see. I know it's a bit heavy. Well, no, because
Not
if
in
I'm
your
going,
handbag.
Well, yeah, I just have it in the car. And if I don't have that, I have a plastic bag with some cotton wool, wet cotton wool in. But if I find a flower that I want, then yeah, I can either press it immediately.
But do you have to have a flower press, or can you
Oh,
put them
yes.
straight into a book?
No, the way, because you want, oh no, you must press them.
Yes,
And
but
they want blotting paper in between.
Oh, dear. Everything's so complicated.
Well, I press
Well, no,
mine in
mine
my
is-
Bible.
Mine
so-
is for a reason, you see, because I
That looks
decided that I would keep, because I need them sometimes for drawing, I decided that I would have them in a photograph album, which I suddenly
That's a lovely
found one.
idea.
Yeah, and I never keep my photos in an album, so
No.
I thought, well, I'll use it for this. And you see this, and I have the date, March the 30th, and where I picked it, I found this along the riverbank at Arundel.
I hope, Daphne, I don't think I need to say this, that you only pick one out of
yes,
the
of
group
course.
and that you
Well,
don't pick
no.
any of the protected
How
species.
do we know what are the protected species?
Well, I mean,
orchids and bee
yes.
orchids, all those sort of things.
Oh, yes, but even cowslips, you see.
Really? Are they
Yes. Oh, yes.
I didn't
Yes.
know.
No, but buttercups and these are, that's lady smock. Well, I used to call it cuckoo pint as a child, that mauvey one, and celandines.
Did you have the same
which I
flowers
love them.
in South Africa? When you were
No,
a child in
very
South
different.
Africa?
I wish
Yeah.
you see, I wish I'd got some then.
That's what I say about the children.
Yes.
You see, we don't keep any of our dried flowers. I use them all the time for bookmarks and
Yes.
things.
Yes.
We'll
No.
regret it later.
Well, I thought this would be a nice to look through in a year's time and then realise
You get
just what
very,
is
you
coming
get very
through.
sentimental.
Yes,
won't
well, I
you? That-
do.
That's
I do.
where you went on
Yes.
a certain day.
And this one, and this I had to look up in the book, you see, it's Greater Starwort.
That's pretty, isn't
Now,
it?
I've seen this so many times along the cornfields. And,
I don't see cornfields anymore.
well, this is where the cornfields, you know, it's early in the year, but I mean, this is where they grow the corn, and I can remember it from last year. And that's along the cornfield.
I mean cornflower. No, cornflowers. You don't see
No,
see
not
them
very
growing
many.
wild.
I've
No.
got some in my garden.
Have you?
Yes.
But
I'm so bad on the names of anything, you'd
that's
have to
all
point them out.
well, you see, if you've got a book that teaches you at the same time.
Yes,
you
I
have
used to. We
the
used to keep a
observer's
book in the
I
caravan.
love those pansies.
Violas. Those are
Are
violas.
those like they look like
Yes.
pansies?
No,
They're
no,
smaller,
no,
aren't
those are-
they?
And forget-me-nots. But the thing about it is that if you are not careful, this being static, I'll show you what happens.
I know
It
what
lifts.
I know what happens.
So
It
do I.
sticks.
Well, I
See,
don't.
look, it's
Yeah,
stuck
but if
to
you
that
put
sheet.
one there, and that would fly up. But the way I've done it is to have a sheet of paper, put it over it, and then run. Oh, I don't think it is. You see, that's stuck to it, that one. And then run it along carefully, and you see,
Squeezing out the air bubbles as you go.
Yes, well,
I
yes, it does
see.
automatically
Yes,
cling
yeah.
down, so
Yeah.
they don't all fly away, because otherwise your arrangement disappears.
That's a
So,
very good
yeah,
idea, Daphne.
Because I found that they were all scattering.
Daphne, if you put them under glass, are they preserved in the same way as under this? What is this?
Well, this is just clings onto that.
Yes.
It's thick.
Yes, but it's just an ordinary photograph album, you see, which I thought was
idea.
quite
It is a
nice.
nice idea.
But these Lily of the Valley were given to me in France, which is rather nice.
They're very
And those there are blackthorn.
Sorry to break this up. The presence of your company is requested in the kitchen, madam.
Oh, really? Formal?
Yes.
If she can't manage again.
Oh, quite hard.
She wants your seat, I think.
I like
Smells
this.
delicious.
I think that's very pretty.
What's that one,
Seaweed one.
Busy again?
Oh, come along, that's right, yes,
Smells lovely. I could smell it.
yes. Could you? It's probably the oil that she put.
Because, well, chips with
smell
everything.
there. That's, yes, so no chips today. But I thought now that the crab is coming in,
And aren't they beautiful?
thick and fast, and aren't they good? Yes, I'm very fond of crab. I don't know that I don't actually prefer it to lobster.
Well, I think there's more to eat. That's probably why I like it. And
There is a little more, though. Actually, while I've been away, we had lobsters. They have enormous, what they call lobsters there, but in actual fact they're crayfish, you know.
I know.
They're really West Indian crayfish. They're huge, and the tails are about that thick. I did.
You look
Ah,
fabulous.
thank you very much. That's
Absolutely
very nice of
lovely.
you. I think that's a bit of an overstatement, but thanks.
No, you do. You really look super.
Yes, Deborah enjoyed it too because she had never been to the West Indies before. And now we have a friend who lives out there, or who did live out there, and who in fact has now bought a house in Tortola in the British Virgin Islands.
Oh, well, it's nice to get around,
And
Mary.
so, well, I said, now come on, Doug, you know, are we invited? And he said, give me 6 months to settle down there and come on out. So, but I say, start walking now.
That's right.
Start walking now. Anyway, this actually was a packet of frozen crab that I had because I'd had it about 2 months. I wanted to use it. But normally you would use fresh crab, being in your business. And you can either use just the white meat or you can mix it. I think it's nice.
I do. I prefer it mixed.
Yes.
And it gives a nice colour.
That's right. But I tell you something, that if you only want to use the white meat, then use the brown meat subsequently to make a nice soup with. And that is delicious. Makes a very, very good fish soup with the brown meat, okay?
Right.
So just for a few crepe, and I've got a little pile of pancakes here, which I've made. You see, I always make a little pile. And then what I do is to stack them in little packs of about 6 and freeze them.
Just on top of one another
Just
or
on top of,
interleaved?
no, you don't need to interleave them. If you put oil in them, in the
Yes,
mixture,
yes.
you won't need to interleave them. They'll come apart very, very easily.
So good-tempered, your little crepes.
Like me, dear.
Oh, well, of course, Mary. Need I say?
Thick cream now.
That is thick.
This is very, very thick cream, but if you're using ordinary double cream, then the thing to do is to whip it lightly first, okay? And mix that with
Just a
the crab
spoonful.
meat. You only need a little, just to hold it together. And make it unctuous, should I say, to use a big word. Right, and Dijon mustard.
Lovely.
And this sharpens it, because I think crab needs sharpening either with a little mustard or with lemon juice, whichever. Sometimes people use Tabasco, which is nice. Just needs that little bit of sharpening.
I'm still not very adventurous with all my herbs and things.
Well, that's tarragon. Now, my tarragon is only about so high, so I didn't want to pick it. And so I'm using the dried, which is very good, but I prefer fresh herbs. The herbs are purely your choice. I mean, you could, if you grow dill, parsley, marjoram, you can use any of those herbs. But I think that the tarragon is very nice with the French mustard. I love it. Little salt and a little black pepper. And then my pan of oil. Sound like those ladies who talk about my liver. I dip my liver in flour. Have you ever heard them? I was amused at that. Righto. I think that's about right. Good. Okay. Now we take one of the crepe, and incidentally, if you look at a pancake, you can see it's nice and supple. Do you see the nice pattern on that side? It's pleasing to look at,
Yes, it's
isn't
very
it?
pretty.
That's the side I cooked it first.
Yes.
Now, if you turn it over, you get that speckled look.
I quite like that too.
Do you know? I
quite
don't
like
like
it.
that. No. Now, if you were going to just fill them, roll them, like so, and then put them in a dish and cover them with a sauce or cheese sauce or something, use that side. You
More
see, because
attractive.
that's more attractive. That's right. But it doesn't really matter for this. So, a nice dollop of mixture in the middle. Fold it over. Make sure that you wrap it in as closely as you can. And because the crepe has got a lot of oil in it, it's very tender. Do you know what I'm saying?
Be
Sort of
lovely.
Soft, that's right.
You're not tempted
And
to
then
stitch it up?
turn it over in the egg, like so. Make sure you've got it well into the egg. And then into soft brown crumbs and directly into the fat. There we are. Now, you can have these actually, Lynn, either as a first course, say
Yes, they would be
two
lovely.
small ones as first course. If you want to have them as a main course with salad and potato salad and other things, you know, with it, then I would make much larger crepe. Make an 8-inch crepe.
And are they quite good tempered? If you wanted them as a starter,
Yes.
do they keep warm quite
oh,
well?
yes. Look. Look.
Oh, they
You
look
see?
lovely.
2. All right?
You're garnished.
Well, whatever kind of garnish you like. Now
what's that?
That is a little cocktail sauce. I'll tell you actually what it is. It's simply mayonnaise with a little tomato puree in it, and then you can spike it up if you like with Tabasco or
I do that for my prawn
a
cocktail.
few herbs. That's right. That's right. I turn that over, colour the other side, and there we are.
That's
And
quite
that's
a
it.
quick job.
You can and you can cook these.
I'm more heavily involved recently with the project because Roger having a garage, they're now got to the stage of requesting tools, second-hand tools or anything like that, you know, to help them with getting everything up off the wreck. You can imagine diving for artifacts and things.
Yeah, you'd never think that shoe had been under the sea.
You wouldn't.
for
I mean,
how many?
1545 she went down.
Incredible.
But how long has the Mary Rose been excavated? How long ago did they start?
Well, they started, yes, quite a long time ago. And in fact, by next year, by 82, she has got to be lifted.
Right.
Well, because they've taken away all the silt. The only thing that's preserved all these items so well. Very careful, Mary.
I have a
Oh,
look?
yeah. Well, I
precious.
will.
Oh,
I
I
have a
thought,
look.
well, I hoped you'd be here, Daphne, because of your shoe designing, and that you'd like to have a look at that.
That's
Very well
fantastic.
preserved.
Looks like somebody's gardening shoe.
Well, it's because of the special type of silt in the Solent.
So
apparently.
light. Isn't
Yes,
it
isn't
an
it?
elegant shoe there,
Well, it
Daphne?
is.
It must have been an officer's shoe.
Yes,
definitely.
Yes, apparently. Yes,
Because
above the...
I mean, all this, you can see it. Yeah, better on this side.
But the preservation's
all that
remarkable.
is sort of decorative all round there, isn't it?
What are those
Oh, look, it's
slits
been
for, do you
mended.
think? For
Yes, that-
perspiring?
It's been mended there.
I think that mend is probably was done, you know, at the time. But we certainly, the Mayor's Trust, they have conserved at the heel there, Daphne. You'll see some rather new stitching.
Oh, yes.
Obviously, bits, you know, they
Yeah.
come up very well, you know, looking like what they
Beautiful,
should.
beautiful leather.
How do they keep it in that condition? Because didn't...
Well, Daphne will tell you, I expect.
Well, no, I only know because my cousin does a lot of diving, and he was saying that when they bring up cannonballs or anything like that, metal, they have to keep it in water because otherwise, and running water at that, because otherwise the molecule
yes,
change.
alter.
Yes,
explode,
and
don't they?
they explode. They
Does
get
it have
red
to-
hot.
well,
Do they?
Yes.
We have to keep everything well washed down. It's kept damp or it's kept in baths.
In
you
salt
know.
water, the
It's actually fresh water, funnily enough, or salt water, but a lot of it's in fresh water, because I asked exactly the same question when I was down at the warehouse.
But that's a very slow process.
Well, yes, they're also freeze. Well, I was going to
Is that silver?
No, that's pewter, Marion. and it's a powder keg, as you can see.
That's lovely.
Yes.
Isn't it
Yes,
nice? I
and
suppose
that's
it had a
pewter.
chain on it.
I assume so, yes.
Go
But they
round
put them
the neck.
around their, around the necks or from their belts.
Yes,
I'm not
but
quite
but
sure.
I've seen that. It's
Yeah,
not so
that's right.
interesting
That's
as
the
something
shoe.
like this.
Well, you might be
yes.
interested in this, though, Daphne, because you love wood.
It's
Well, yes.
She loves knits.
That's what I said.
It's a lice comb.
My mother
That's
used to
exactly
use...
what it is.
My mother used to use one of those on me every Friday
Not-
night
not
when I
that
was a
old.
little
Not in
girl.
1545, no. But Daphne, that's hand carved. You know how fine those teeth are. It's remarkable.
And it's very thick, that, isn't it?
And we've got some better ones in better state of preservation than those, actually. But obviously,
Fancy them having them in those days.
Yes,
It looks as though it's ivory or bone.
Well, I thought it was the first time I saw it. And the other one, in fact, it looks even more like bone. I said, oh, it's bone. It's not
What are they
wood.
going to do? Put them in a museum afterwards?
Yes, there's going to be a special museum built at Eastney in Portsmouth to take the ship. And then, obviously, they'll have... It's a marvellous find. It's the first actually designed fighting ship. Most of them were sort of ordinary sort of merchant ships which had guns.
Yes.
This one was actually designed to...
And of course it was
as
full,
a fighting ship.
full rig.
Yes.
And did it go
Well,
down?
I know, you see, Marion, I thought you'd be here.
Yeah.
That is some of the fabric they found. I mean, isn't this amazing?
It looks like...
Well,
is it velvet?
Yes, it's silk and velvet braid.
That looks like a ribbon threaded through the slots.
Because
the sort of thing
I
that you...
think what is so interesting, Marion, don't you, that... I mean, we've seen materials
Yes.
that are still around.
Yes,
But
the
the
old
fact
one.
that this has been
Yes.
under the sea. all
They're
this
using now a
time.
method they found of conservation, although that sounds a bit like countryside, doesn't it? But it's an easy
Yeah.
word. A freeze drying. So you've got any old freezers you don't want.
How do you mean?
They're freeze drying now.
So this is how they're preserving it then.
This is silk,
Now,
surely.
this is silk.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's the sort of drawn threadwork that you
Well,
would
it
want,
looks to me more as though it was woven like that.
they
Because
couldn't-
missing
Yes,
threads and
yes.
so on.
But how many people were on board that?
Well, there should have been a complement of 400,
Yeah.
but we think there are at least 700.
And it sank actually in the harbour.
It's
didn't
actually,
it?
it's just
Yes.
the same.
Yes.
Well, the theory is that the gun ports were open, and suddenly the wind came and she heeled over, started to tack, heeled over, and the gun ports were only about 18 inches from the sea, and the sea came in, they were open, and she
And they were
sank.
probably
Down
all
south.
on this side.
But was
Well,
that
it may well have
negligence?
been.
I think that bonuses of this holiday really is that I have met a woman with whom I know I'm going to be very friendly.
How lovely.
It
That's
often happens.
rare.
It often happens with me like that. That I know at once, within a few moments almost of meeting somebody, whether or not I'm in total communication with them.
Yes. Well, is she the sort of person who would tell you everything about herself?
Not particularly, I don't think
So-
so. But we had a very good relationship in that you know what it's like when you are talking to someone and before you finish the sentence, they know what you're saying.
That's right.
Well, that's what I mean.
That's not very different from
That is what I
shoes nowadays, is it?
I know.
I think it's more
quite
unusual.
elegant.
And sometimes I think my life is so busy at the moment, Mary.
Will you excuse me? I'm going to move my very precious thing
hang on.
before tea comes. Would you help, Marion? Thank you. Hang on.
I sometimes think, Mary, my life is so busy I don't even analyse friendships anymore. I just have a few friends that probably are suitable with the children. You know, that all we've met because of school functions and I seem sometimes that I'm so busy I haven't time.
Well, here you are. I'll be a good friend and pour you out a cup of tea and keep quiet for a bit.
You're not mixing that though with acquaintances, are you? Because it's very different, you know, an acquaintanceship and a really true deep friendship, isn't it, Daphne? Very
Yes,
different.
it is, but I think that as you go through life, you do make new friends because your interests change as you go through, and so therefore it must vary, and you can make just as deep a friendship when you're older.
Oh yes.
But do you look for the same things in your
What do
new
you look
friends?
for in friends? What are you looking for? Somebody more helpful than me? What do
Yeah,
you
much
want?
more helpful than you. I think that's the first time you've ever pulled the tea.
Yes, it probably is. But are you complaining about your friends? What do you want
No,
from
I
your
think,
friends?
well, I don't really know. I haven't really thought about it. I just feel sometimes, I suppose I like continuity of temperament.
Oh, yes.
I
Not
don't
to be
mean that they
moving.
ever disagree. I would hate somebody who always agreed with me. But I can't bear to feel I have to placate today.
Or be
Or be bright, particularly. Somebody who's always the same.
Lynn, that's my advantage, isn't it? Because if you remember, my best friend is a man. And I know we've had arguments and Cherry says it's impossible to have a platonic relationship with a man.
No, I haven't said that.
No, I must have misheard
On the
you, Cherry.
contrary, you must have
But you know, truly, that is the best way of having a friend, I think. And I have become friends with Tim because he's so interested in motor racing, and it's because I've got older. When I was younger and didn't go motor racing, I wouldn't have dreamt of having a friend who was interested in motor cars. So that's
So your quality you look for in, is it Tim?
is interest in the same subjects, loyalty and trust. Simple as that.
I like somebody to be supportive generally.
Well,
in just
being
in
a
the
man he
ordinary, no, I don't mean in that way. I mean in the ordinary, in everyday life, I think you need a friend much more. The days when you wake up feeling depressed.
You're right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or
Yes.
things need to be going wrong. They don't have to be vital issues, but just every day knowing that you've got somebody who says, oh, never mind, come have a cup of
It's
tea.
just like marriage. It's the
Quite
small things that matter.
Yes, of
It's not the
course.
big issues.
It's
ever.
not,
And
because-
Jerry, that's why I like being friends with you.
Oh,
Because it is, because whenever if I'm depressed, you make me feel better.
do I?
Yeah, perhaps without being conscious of it.
I have that with Vivian, because Vivian's so scatty. You know, that if I'm feeling a bit down, I've only got to phone Vivian and we're away. I mean, you know, she just has me in peals of laughter in 5 minutes, so...
that sounds like Vivian.
I think you've got to trust a friend, though,
Yes.
however little or much you need them, you've got to feel that they like you.
One point
Basically,
I'm quite
they like
interested
you.
in.
Oh, yes. And are concerned about you. Really.
are completely and absolutely on the same wavelength. And I don't think that necessarily means that they have the same interests, because I have two particular friends who have not at all the same interests as I have, but we are exactly on the same wavelength.
Do you think it has anything to do with money?
Oh no, nothing at all to do
Well,
with money.
sometimes I
don't
think.
think so.
Well, you know what I think this sometimes is a problem.
I think money can spoil it.
It's for children.